This afternoon, I have the great honor of introducing a true friend to the town of Secaucus, a true friend to the library, a true friend to the state of New Jersey. He's Assemblyman Vincent Prieto, who is currently the Speaker of the House for the state of New Jersey. Welcome.
It's great. It's great to be here, Kathy.
You were the construction official at the time this library was being built.
Mm-hmm.
And we went through so many changes in the role of the library in the town of Secaucus. But this building that you helped us construct has been the mention of many a person as I traveled around the state. They thought it was a beautiful, beautiful facility. And the library is going to celebrate its 80th anniversary next year. We're in this building 11 years, but it's 80 years old. What can you tell me about this particular project? And I saw how passionate you were. I know you're passionate about everything you do, but the passion you had here was amazing.
Well, this was a labor of love. Obviously, at that time, I was, which I still am, the construction official, but I became something a little bit more for this project. It was more like the clerk of the works to make sure everything functioned properly. I think the final product speaks for itself. Like you said, it's talked about statewide. As now my role as the Speaker of the Assembly, I speak with librarians and the state librarians throughout the state, and it is known for being a resource center. It's something that is great for the community. It's a part of education that I think it's great. Having young children at that time and knowing what the value of a library, and as me taking advantage as library, back then we didn't really have the internet and things at home, and I was always able to use it as a resource and a tool to get educated. So I think education is a big component. But being the construction official here, I get to oversee the construction of buildings. But I sort of was giving an additional title, was clerk of the works. This project, I know for you it was a labor of love, and that transcended to me to get the passion to make sure we had something that would be a legacy for future generations. It started out kind of on a rocky start because the original bidder of the project, which was the low bidder, that's how state contracts go, did not do too well, and we had problems because the construction wasn't going well, and I noticed that there were things that were not being done properly. We had actually called in the bonding company, which the bonding company in turn agreed with us through that contractor off the job, got another contractor. So now with that contractor, we had I want to say weekly meetings, but we probably met almost daily to make sure the process was going through. There were a lot of change orders. We wanted to see this. We once toured this with the governing body, and I remember there was one town councilman that said, "Do we need such a big library?" And he goes, "Does the town of Secaucus warrant this?" And I said, "You build it, they will come, and time will tell." And guess what? It has proven that it was needed, and it has been a showpiece, not just for Secaucus, but for the state of New Jersey. And your vision was great.
Well, it was also the vision of Margaret Graziola, who was my mentor. So, I don't take credit, but I do think, I love coming into this building every day. But every time I do, I think of you.
Yeah.
Because I knew you had our back. You were doing everything that needed to be done so that the day we moved in our books, we were ready to roll.
I want to just tell you something, and you may not. I'm known for having a very good memory, and I don't forget many things. But there was one thing that I remember, and you were such not a stickler for detail. You want to make sure it was perfect. We had a sign over an entrance that goes into one of the rooms, and it had a name. And you said, "Can I get another light up there so that name would be properly lit?" And I said, "Yeah, we could do that." And I got the electrician to do it. And those things. So that to me always caught my attention, that it was about the detail and it was about making it like as perfect as we could. And like I said, this, whether it was even from the color scheme to the layout and how it flows and how friendly it is for the residents to use.
Right, it's true. I know I had Mayor Elwell in this chair a few days ago, and I reminded him how nervous he was when he saw the color scheme. He only saw one wall painted, and he called me up and said, "Now I'm nervous. I left it in your hands, and now I'm nervous." But he was thrilled with the outcome, so that's really good. My fear, and I'm sure your fear was, we had to like it, but boy, we had every resident in the town of Secaucus who has an opinion on a color, a design.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
that's why I loved sharing that burden with you. Did the major obstacles we ran into, though, you mentioned one,
Right.
was the contractor.
Right.
And all of the other times, I never realized when I would say to you, could I have a light over that name,
Right.
that meant a process that you had to go through.
Yeah, there's what you call change orders, and in additional, and obviously there's a budget you have to meet. So obviously working with the contractors to make sure that we minimize the cost, and obviously knowing construction, explaining to them, well, maybe you can just run this light from here to there, so it would be at a minimal cost to make it function. Because things look great on paper, but when you put them onto reality, that's why you can see a set of plans and we look at it, and that's why on the field you always adjust, and that's why it's not perfect as well. You're going by the drawings, so it should be easy. It's not. Once you get there, you start noticing, you know what? There's a little bit better ventilation if you do this. There's a little better flow if you do this. So these things are things we do, and those are called change orders, which a lot of times add to the cost. But us being here and myself being the clerk of the work, along with the architects, we were hands-on, that we didn't really pay somebody to do that was a cost savings to the town at the time.
Right. And we moved in on day one, and we really never had a problem with this building. Little minor things here or there, or changes,
Knock
like
on wood.
you said. We thought, should have put an electrical outlet here or there, and we thought of them all. But in all honesty, there was nothing. Everything works thanks to you. So,
And it was a combination. It was the contractors and obviously having that oversight. Unfortunately, like when buildings get built, and a lot of people assume that that's the work that you have, like an inspector there 24/7. You don't. On this project, it was special. It was something that needed to get done. We started out a little bit limping, so we had to hit the ground running to make sure we were on time and got the project done. And I think that, there's so many things, whether it was the floor in the entrance, that it was the right color, to the steps that, came to the second floor, that they were, safe so somebody wouldn't slip. And the things, like you said, everything worked from day one. There was a lot of oversight here, and like I said, it was a labor of love, on my part, and it just was from everybody. Everybody wanted to make sure that this would become what the vision it was, and I'm telling you, it's unbelievable that came to a T.
it did. And it's 11 years later, and we're still hearing beautiful reports, and we still see the same windows and everything. Nothing's leaking. We had a couple little things in the ceiling which were nothing.
Yeah.
It was the flow of water, and to me that's amazing.
It is. It still looks like it's brand new.
It does.
It does,
The
yeah.
furniture is wearing out, and that's a good sign.
Yeah.
That means it's being used. But
Absolutely.
I know our present director, Jennifer, has told me she needs to get some new furnishings, and I said, good. And she said, good. I said, yep. That means people are coming, as you said. Build it and they will come.
Yep.
I wore the little pin that said, libraries build communities, which I believe in.
I agree.
And I used to wear that every day so that whoever I was speaking to, especially someone of importance, would recognize that and have it in their head.
Yeah.
But what reaction have you received from the project? When you say you spoke to the state librarian or different librarians, what do they see as...
They see it that it's an amazing structure. Like I said, it just makes sense. It flows. It's so friendly to the people that come and visit it. And really, libraries are an arm of our education. And Secaucus is known for a great education. That's one of the reasons I moved here a quarter of a century ago, for my children to go through school, which they went from pre-K to 12. They're products of this. And one of my oldest is a teacher in the system right now, which I'm very proud of. And this has been a place that she has come, whether it's to tutor kids or when she needed to do projects. So this is so important. So that's what I get back from the people. And people that come here and use one of your conference rooms, and is just so friendly. It's a place that, you know, is housed for when there was FEMA needed to be here. I once brought from the state a mobile unit for the motor vehicles, and they set up shop here to have for residents to make it easier for them. And that was something that was done away with, which because of budgetary cuts of the state, but the library was the home of that for a few days.
And it was wonderful.
Yeah, and things like that. When you can do that for a community, like you said, you are part of the community, and not every kid has everybody almost assumes that everybody has a computer at home. They don't, and not everybody's as fortunate as other people. So we actually here, you have a place that you can come, that it's, like I said, it's a resource. You can do your research, and you have somebody that can help you. And books are still wonderful to read. There's still nothing like getting an actual book and sitting down and reading it. So I think
Right.
that's
As
great.
you said that, you were smiling. So I know you said that from your heart, which is true. I myself have a Kindle for when I travel,
Right.
but I can never do away with a book.
There's something
Never.
about that book for some reason.
Right.
I guess maybe the youth sees it a little different, but there's nothing like grabbing an actual book and sitting down with it and flipping the pages
Right.
and looking at it. So it's good. So it's great. That's why a library, I think, will never be antiquated.
And if we keep up with the times and stay relevant.
Absolutely.
You know, you said old children don't have a computer. Many of them do, but they're certainly not as up to date.
True.
And that's one thing about
True.
belonging to a consortium that we do here
Right.
with the state. We can get the databases
Yeah.
the day they're out.
Yeah.
So, you know, and for the businesses now, we were very fortunate here to have business who appreciated that we wanted to reach out to them.
Sure.
They reached out to us in the form of donations. So I know that's something that we continue to have.
Yeah. That's a great component, and partnering with the business community, that they are part of our community, and them giving back into that community, it's so important because it helps the taxpayers to offset some of the bills. And I think that that's a great, we have the different rooms that are named after, whether it's the Panasonic room and things that they gave and donated. And that's great because they're giving back to the community that they're part of. They're just daytime residents, not nighttime residents, but they are part of a community. They're taxpayers here, and them donating and giving to a community, I think it's great. I think when you look at that partnership that you have where, it's public-private partnerships, that they invest in the future of the town, it just makes everything work together. And that's why at the state level we try and emphasize on public partnerships
Yes.
that really help tremendously and can help offset costs.
Absolutely. Well, they certainly helped to offset the costs here. I don't know if we would have had the finances for the security cameras
Right.
that you mentioned Panasonic gave us. And so we went back to them several times since then.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they moved, but I tend to think if we called them now, we'd still get a TV to raffle off someplace,
You probably could.
And I know that you use the library frequently, and I remember seeing you here with your daughters who are now, one is a teacher.
But one's a teacher, and the other one, my son, he actually graduated college also.
Oh, wow. They're getting older because you were bringing them in, and I remember those days.
Or I should say he graduated film school.
Film school.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, the other one is the educator. And I've been here on many occasions. I've had meetings here. We've had, on many occasions, we have certain events that we've held here. And I think it's great for kids to tutor kids. My
Yes.
daughter has used this facility on many
Right.
occasions as she tutors some of them. I think it's great. And you can read the newspaper. You can do many things. And as you said, you keep growing with the times. So you just don't stay back in what people think was a library. When
Right.
we were kids, it actually is a resource center.
It is. I mean, the first anybody should think of, I'll call the library. If we don't have whatever service they're looking for, we know where to
Yeah.
send them.
Absolutely. And you talked about that consortium, and what people don't know, and I know
Right.
it because at the state level, when you belong to part of that consortium, you have the capability of almost having any book that's out there. If you don't have it in the building, you will have it within a day or two, whatever that time frame is. But you have your pulse on anything. You can get anything, and that's
right.
such a great thing that you can come in here and say, I like this book. Whether a kid's doing a book report or anything, you know you can get it for them,
Right.
and you don't have to go out and buy a book.
It's like belonging to 75 libraries.
Correct.
That's what's in the consortium, and it's same. We have another consortium with Hudson County where you can go to any library and take out the book. Well, here we just call up and say, could you send us that book, and give the patrons number. It's wonderful. There's 8 million items
That's
now in our database.
that's a huge number.
Now, when we came here, there was 5 million. We didn't have to expand,
Right.
but now we have 8 million.
Right.
So it's an amazing, and actually the number of volumes we had was 57,000 when we came in here.
And I think you've expanded even into videos and movies
Absolutely.
and different things, which I think that's
Right.
another great aspect.
That's something that the state wanted us to do, and we went kicking a little bit on some of the new movies. I wasn't so sure that was necessary in a library. We were hurting some of the local businesses, but it was required, so we did it.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very
Right.
popular.
Yeah. And that sort of business has changed with the years now with things on demand, but there's also people that don't have
Right.
that accessibility at home, so they could actually get the conventional movies here and don't have to make that investment. So I think it's great. The service you provide, people don't really, I think, sometimes understand the scope of it,
No, I
which
think
is
you're right.
a great broad scope.
True. Now you're here. It's a Tuesday afternoon, and I believe the seniors are in the other room looking at a brand new movie today. I don't know how many were in there, but usually Fred and I like to get here early because we can't get a parking spot. So it's crowded inside
Yeah.
now.
That's wonderful.
If the movie hadn't started, I'd bring you right in to see them. But we just want to say thank you to you, and thank you for your vision. There's a lot of your vision in this building as well as others. So we could say to someone, we want this, but you had to figure out how to do it.
I won't take credit for the things. I was just happy to be part of the process here, and like I said, it was with great honor and pleasure to see such a vision come to life and be a reality for years to come, that people will come here and say, wow, what a great place.
Well, I hope so, and I know that now we're very fortunate because we have someone so filled with knowledge about libraries in the state of New Jersey. It's an honor for our community, but it certainly is a treasure for this library that we could call you and ask you a question or get us to help us with something.
We always try to fund libraries, and I think that process of me being here has helped me even understand it, of the greater need for the state of New Jersey.
Yes.
And what yourself has taught me, that I've been able to go out and at a state level talk about libraries and their importance and all that, and those consortiums, why it's important to be part of them, and why, and I believe it's Buckles.
The Berkeley
Right.
County
So
Consortium.
I know them well, and I think it's just been for me an education process. And I always say I keep learning every day,
Right.
and this was a tremendous lesson for me to be able to take for my next level at the state.
Well, the reason for these interviews that we've been busy handling for the last few days, and I say we because Fred Graffeld is my photographer who's been doing a great job, is that the library is going to celebrate a milestone next year. It will be celebrating its 80th anniversary. What words would you like to leave our patrons or viewers with who may be looking at this film 20, 30, 40 years from now, when I'll be sleeping, you'll still be doing something, but I'll be gone. But what would you like to say about libraries and libraries in general?
Well, I want to congratulate Secaucus on their 80th anniversary, which is a tremendous milestone. And for future generations, they have here a building that is a truly a resource center for them for years to come. And who knows, maybe in those 20, 30 years, there will be maybe an expansion to a building like this, but they have a foundation here that is a foundation for education. In the words of, when you go brick and mortars, foundation is what you need for anything you do. This
Right.
building had a great foundation. This gives a great foundation to our community, and I think for years to come, the Secaucus Library is something that will thrive and will be there for them at every step of the way.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your words of wisdom, and thank you for your friendship.
Kathy, thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure to be here. I'm just ecstatic you have asked me to be part of this.
Oh, you're a major part of this library. Thank you so much.
Thank you.